is it? Is Ceana all right? When he'd met her, she'd just been widowed, and happily so, given her marriage had not been a pleasant one. He'd loved her, wanted her, and then she'd been given away. He wanted to grab Lamont by his neck and shake him, to lift him off his feet and watch the breath dissipate from his body. "You'd better be making her happy." Lamont smiled, a whimsical look that didn't suit the fierce warrior. Blast it all, the arse was in love with her. Gabriel ground his teeth. "Ceana is well and happy, as am I." Gabriel tightened his hold on the hilt of his sword. He didn't want Lamont to be happy, but if the man wasn't, that would mean that Ceana wasn't either. And he knew how heartbroken she'd been when her brother had given her the news that he'd not honor Gabriel's request for her hand. Hell, she'd sobbed on his shoulder for an hour, and he'd been close to tears himself. But that was years ago, and he'd not shed another tear for her loss, even if his heart had broken and never healed since. Sweat trickled over Lamont's brow, and he swiped it. "'Tis another matter I come to ye with." "What?" Gabriel cracked his neck, loosening himself up for the next round of attack. "Ceana's cousin, Lady Brenna MacLeod." "The MacLeod's wife?" MacLeod land bordered the west of the MacKinnon holding, and they'd been allies until 4 years before, when the old Laird died and his son took over. Having a violent and vengeful nature, the new Laird had made it his plan to seize all of the Isle of Skye for himself. Perhaps he'd had a taste for it since he was a lad of 16 and married Brenna MacNiachol after murdering and seizing her clan's castle and holding, which bordered MacKinnon land to the north. Gabriel had never seen Brenna himself, but he'd been told she was a frail little thing, barely more than the size of a child. Aye, the MacNiachol's wife, Amelie, was sister to Jamie and Ceana's mother, making them cousins. "What's this got to do with me?" "We've heard about the trouble MacLeod has been giving ye." "And?" Trouble it had been at first. A few cattle raids, a couple of skirmishes along the road. They turned into more than just a nuisance when MacLeod had started ambushing their trading wagons, interrupting their markets and then pillaging villages. The MacKinnon holding to the east controlled access to Loch Alsh and the mainland, as well as the Sound, which led into the Minch and the surrounding seas. MacLeod land also bordered the Minch, but they'd not conquered all the MacDonald's holdings whose access to the Sound of Sleat also fed to the mainland, though ships had to sail through the treacherous Minch. Having access to the narrow Sound and lock to the mainland would have been a boon for the MacLeods, and the only way to command it was for them to take control of MacKinnon lands, which they'd not yet succeeded in doing, but not for lack of trying. Any day now, Gabriel expected a full-on attack by the MacLeods. "We want ye to fight." Lamont dug the tip of his sword into the ground. "Fight? Aye, take on those MacLeod bastards. To what purpose?" Gabriel glanced at his men from the sides of his eyes and gave a little swipe of his hand. They started to back away, though they didn't disperse completely. Lamont cocked his head and studied MacKinnon. "I think we both know to what purpose. I'll not kill another Laird. That will only be inviting every MacLeod to my doorstep, itching for a fight. The entire Isle of Lewis, thousands of warriors. Even the MacLeod holdings on the Isle of Skye vastly outnumbered his own. Ye need not kill him, Wolf. Have ye not heard?" "Heard what?" Lamont raised his brows, seeming surprised that Gabriel was oblivious to whatever news he was about to impart. "Rumour has it, his wife's done the deed herself, but now she and her wee ones are being held prisoner by the MacLeod's younger brother. She managed to get a letter to Ceana begging for help." Gabriel chewed on that bit of information. The wee lass had killed her husband. Must have done it in his sleep. A slip of a woman like that would have been hard-pressed to kill a mouse caught in a trap. "And?" Gabriel prompted, still not entirely sure what the hell it was that Lamont wanted. "The lass needs help." Gabriel waited for him to say more, but he didn't, leaving the space between them thick with unanswered questions. Gabriel let out a small groan. "Are ye expecting me to rescue?"